Today's learning intention for lesson 1-2 is how to find the midpoint of a segment. We are trying to find the midpoint of a segment. What is the midpoint of a segment? It is a point equidistant. Whoa, timeout. What does that mean, equidistant? Equidistant means what to you? Equal distance, right? A point equidistant from the endpoints of a segment. A point equidistant from the endpoints of a segment is a midpoint. We will very likely have some vocabulary quizzes in here also. It's not going to be on Thursday's quiz, right, because it's still too new, right? But here's the truth. If you don't know what these words mean in this class, you will be a lost little puppy. So every once in a while, we got a quiz on what the words mean. But the main thing is sorry that I have this graph a little too cut off here. Let me shrink it down a little bit. Write down the ordered pairs from these pictures to the right. So here's A. It's been a while. Remember, x comes first. Are you cool that the x value of A is down here at -3? So let's start with a capital A and put a -3. And its y value is at +3. So it is an A at -3, +3. Could you guys tell me where B is? It's off the screen, but you have a piece of paper. Where the heck is B? Tell your group also. Where is point B? I got him at 5, what? Cool. And I know it's been a while since we had some algebra. Sometimes we get our ordered pairs backwards, you know. Remember, the x comes first and the y comes second. So at 5, -2. Yes? Sure. A point equidistant from the endpoints of a segment. So here's the thing. I'll have some formula cards for you, so that way on quizzes and tests you'll have all the formulas written down and you don't have to memorize them. But we need to know the midpoint formula, and it's as simple as Steve and Dave and Yolanda as before. Didn't we just find the average of those bad boys? So here's the weird part. Do ordered pairs have x values and y values, right? So right above this it says, what is the midpoint formula? Trust me, we'll write it down, then we'll talk about it. We want to put a big parenthesis because it's going to be an ordered pair. And then we're going to go with x sub 1 plus x sub 2. And then we divide that by 2. Isn't that how you find the average of two things? Don't you add them together and divide by 2, right? So that's all we're doing to find the midpoint. But that only is going to work for the x's. That's these red numbers right here. To do the y values, you do y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2. And I'm big on work shown. Some of these questions are pretty easy where a lot of good mental math students don't have to show anything for work to get the right answer. I don't care. We got to show a little bit of work. Later this year, we're going to start doing some proofs. And when you want to prove something to somebody, you have to have some evidence. You can't just say, oh, it's true because I said so. You got to have written evidence. So we got to show a little bit of work. So when they ask us on number 1 here to find the midpoint algebraically, here's what we'll do. We're going to take those x's, this -3 and this 5, and we're going to add them together. And I'm going to start this big old parenthesis, and I'm going to divide it by 2. I'm showing work. I'm like, hey, I'm going to add the two x's together and put it over 2. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the green y's. I'm going to add them together, 3 plus a -2. Hey, time out. Is there a smarter way to write 3 plus -2? What would you really write? Just minus? So we'll do that the next time, right? But I'm just showing you right now, you actually add them together, right? You're adding 3 plus -2, and it'll turn out to be 3 minus 2. So here's what we'll do. We'll clean each one of these up. We got to do the numerator first. If you need to use a calculator, that is so awesome, you could totally do that. What is a -3 plus 5, baby? 2. I'm going to write this stuff in blue right here. I'm going to tell you the honest truth. This blue stuff, you do not have to show this work if you don't want to. So if this right here, it's 2 over 2. And then the green stuff right here, what is 3 plus -2? 1 over 2. That stuff that I put in blue is optional. You do not have to write it down because it cleans up. What does 2 divided by 2 really turn out to be? 1. So the red stuff now is required. 1. And then Yep, 1/2 is fine as a fraction. Would you believe that 0.5 is probably easier to like find on a graph than 1/2 in that case. So I'm kind of liking the decimals. I won't mark you wrong if you have a fraction, but this is the midpoint. Let's go graphing him. He is at 1.5 right there. Isn't that big old fat M right there? So when I was telling you to show work, you must have this and you must have this. If you wanted to leave out that spot in the middle, that's your choice. I'll show you that on the next couple right here. So we're just finding the midpoint. How do you do it? Average. Add your x's, divide by 2. Add your y's, divide by 2. Let's try that again. Can we find the midpoint between these bad boys? So let's take our x's, 4 plus 8, and divide by 2. And let's take our y's, -7 plus 9, and divide by 2. Do you see how I'm just setting it up? I like to do my stuff in different colors, so I kind of see, you obviously are just doing it in pencil, you know, but it's just seeing what's going on. And then for the optional step, some of you can do this in your brain or calculator. Do you know what 4 plus 8 is? And then it needs to be divided by 2, so you see how, sorry, I just need to figure that out. You would have like 6 right here, but if you needed this, 12 over 2, because you're just that person. It's like, okay, I don't want to skip a step. I want to see it's 12 over 2. And then up here, isn't it 2 over 2? Which is really how much? 1. So right there, if you don't want to show this part, that's totally fine. But I want to see the setup, and I want to see the final answer. The midpoint of those two ordered pairs on a graph is at 6, 1. Could you do that one more time for me, baby? One more time. Here's where I want to take a shortcut, though. I don't want to write 5 plus -1. What's the smart way to write 5 plus -1? 5 minus 1. Are we cool with that? You know, instead of 5 plus -1, we'll make it a subtraction right away. And then -3 plus -8. We'll just write a minus -8. And it is totally cool if you get decimals back, guys. Totally cool. That can happen. If you need a calculator, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you, I have calculators up here that you can borrow. You can use your own calculator as well. But this is 4 over 2, and this is -11 over 2, right? So we'll clean those up. We'll clean those up. I'm very used to putting my hand in a certain spot, and that's right where it touches the PowerPoint presentation. So 2. What's -11 divided by 2, baby? Almost. Not 5.5, but -5.5. Are you with me on that? Yes, no, maybe? Cool. So number 3, I want to skip just because, but it says give the coordinates of 2 endpoints who does not have whole numbers. Here's my question. We've done 2 of them already. Is it possible that some of these come out to be decimals? Yes or no? That's all number 3 was about. It's like, is it possible for a midpoint to be decimally? The answer is yes. Sound okay? So let's jump down to number 4. Use your geometer to draw help. What does that say right there? Does that say point M, line M, ray M, segment M? What is that thing right there? To draw point M as the midpoint of segment AB. Please grab your geometer, use a straight edge, and let's start by drawing segment AB, whatever you want it to be. Doesn't it have endpoints of A and B? And then here's what I'll do. I'll make it easy since I can erase my answers a whole lot easier than you can erase. Not like it's challenging, but it makes yours messy. I'm going to draw some bad examples. They want M to be the midpoint of this segment. You watch and tell me good or bad. Would this be a good or a bad spot for M to be the midpoint of segment AB? Good or bad? That's bad. There's no way that this distance in green is the same as that distance in orange. Are you with me on that? So that's bad. Let me try this again. So if I put it like here, that's better. Would you agree with it? But it still doesn't quite look right. So I'll do this. Put it right there where you feel is the middle. I do not need you to use your ruler to measure it, right? We're going to put it close to the middle, but that's not good enough. And here's something that we will use all year long. For me to know that this orange thing, the distance from A to M, is the same as this green thing, that's not green, but the same as this green thing, there's a special marking that we use in geometry class called tick marks. If you put a tick mark on that and a tick mark on that, do you see how I marked those orange distances and green distances the same? That means that those segments are the same, and we will use that all year long, the tick marks. Do you see how I used a single tick mark on each one? I could have used a double tick mark on each one if I really wanted to. Like, those are the same as well. But what I can't do is have like a single tick mark on one and a double tick mark on the other, because that means they're different. Does that kind of make sense? So the tick marks are just meaning that they are the same. And we have a cool name for those. It's our last word of the day on this short day. Those segments that are the same are called congruent segments. Congruent is a big, fat word. We're going to use that a lot. Congruent segments are segments that are the same length. Segments that are the same length. So are you ready for the picky, picky, picky? You know how we've had picky, 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 that capital letters mean points and lowercase letters mean something else? How do you write congruent segments? Could you name, sorry guys, could you name this green segment for me? What would be the name of that green segment right there? Line AM? Segment AM. What do you want? So segment AM. It's supposed to go right here, but I'm going to write it up here so we can see it a little bit better. So I'm going to call that segment AM. We cool with that? And then here's the symbol that we need. This is a big one. A lot of times if we're a little sleepy, and not picking on anybody, but a lot of us are tired. I'm one of them also. You're going to see this symbol and go, I don't know what that means. Help me. Are you familiar with this symbol right here? What is that symbol? Equals. We're going to add a little tilde to it. That little squiggly thing up there is called a tilde. That's called a congruent symbol. That's the congruent symbol which we will use a lot. So segment AM is congruent to segment, who's the other guy right here? Segment MB. The segment being the same, we'll do it with a congruent. Cool? Woo! What a day. I know it's been a long day, but I believe that was the rest. The rest says, like, check your understanding. Do you know what that means? That's your homework right there, baby. So those 5 questions that are left are your homework. Let me help you if you need it, and we will have a great day.